Hello and welcome to a new video. Tonight I'm taking the Segway Max G2 electric scooter out for a ride. And after an excruciatingly long red light, I'm back on the move. But yes, I'm taking the Segway Max G2 scooter out for a ride at night because it's been incredibly hot right now. I don't feel like taking it out during the daytime. And I am starting out on Bardstown Road. This is an area where you very frequently see people riding electric scooters, usually on the sidewalk. So I figured I'd start out here and go downtown onto Main Street. It's just a little bit past sunset. It is a little after 9 p.m. I figured this would be a good test for this scooter. And it is one where the nominal wattage that it puts out, the motor puts out, is 450, so that's the constant power that it has at all times, with the peak power of 1,000 watts. In my experience, the peak power is oftentimes more kind of marketing speak really than reliable numbers you can count on. So you really want to go by the nominal rating, what it puts out at all times. It's top speed on this bad boy of 22 miles per hour if you set the speed all the way up. And it's got cruise control. So, it has a thumb throttle that you use to operate the power. And it can be a little bit annoying having to hold that to keep it going. But this has cruise control. It has two modes. You can either hold the thumb throttle in a position for 5 seconds, and then it'll beep, and that tells you that it's locked in, and it just holds that as your cruise control speed. Or you can hold, you can go into the app and change the settings, where you hold one of the turn signal buttons to engage it. I just have it set to engage after you've held the throttle in the same spot for 5 seconds. Just because I think that's easier. Don't have to take my eyes off the road to fiddle with the instruments. So now I'm on, or it's technically Baxter Avenue, not really Bardstown Road, because Bardstown Road and Baxter Avenue converge. So this is it was technically Baxter Avenue that I was taking at the end there. And now I'm going to go on to Main Street, downtown Louisville. So things that this has that make it nice for night rides are turn signals. So it allows you to indicate what you're going to do to people, which is nice and useful. And has a horn, which is a little beep. I'm not going to do it because people are right in front of me. It's got full suspension, so it's a pretty comfortable ride. So it's got front and rear suspension. Just means when you go over bumps or road obstacles, it cushions the blow a little bit, makes it more tolerable. actually stop at lights usually. That also helped me put a little bit of distance between myself and the cyclists that were up ahead of me. So now I'm on Main Street. Downtown Louisville. And this is an area where there's a bike lane that kind of comes and goes. Oh, and that's something where having the suspension makes that much more tolerable than it would have been without. So let's see, other specs on this thing. It has a front drum brake and a rear electric brake. And you can also turn on regenerative braking. So if anybody has an electric car, the concept's similar, that once you release the throttle, then it starts applying an engine brake that regenerates some energy that it puts back into the battery. I think it's pretty negligible amounts of energy that it's actually creating. I don't know that I've ever seen the actual battery percentage go up any from using that. It's more of just something that can allow you to not have to use the brake itself. Yeah, so Main Street, we're about to pass Louisville Slugger Field, which is where the Louisville Bats baseball team plays. And hopefully I can time this out where I don't get stuck at every single red light, because there are a lot of red lights. Which makes sense as it's a downtown area. And this is being recorded on a Sunday night, so not the weekend when there's a ton of stuff going on. That would make this a little bit more treacherous. It's recording it on a Sunday night, so still traffic, just not as much as there would be on a Saturday or a Friday. There are bike lanes, but as with many bike lanes and many cities, for the most part, this is on the outside of parking spots, parallel parking spots on the road, which means that people can open their door in front of you if they're not paying attention. And there's often just a bunch of crud that ends up in these lanes. Broken glass, garbage, construction stuff, so like nails and screws. And the bike lane kind of abruptly ends here, so you have to get out of it because it ends block to block. Because technically, when you're on bikes and electric scooters like this, you're really supposed to kind of stick to the right lane, which can be challenging depending on the traffic layout. And to the right was the KFC Yum Center, which is the basketball stadium for the University of Louisville basketball team, but it's also where they host concerts and various events. Now I'm just going down through Main Street, where there are various office buildings and performing arts locations. So on the right, that is the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts. So you can go there to see various shows and plays and performances. And, you know, some of the touristy downtown stuff through here, like the Slugger Museum, which is the baseball museum. I want to get over because I don't want to go all the way down here. So there's the Slugger Museum, which is directly ahead, which is where the baseball bats are made, the Louisville Slugger bats. And it's a museum, so it's kind of a tourist attraction type place. And plenty of people visit that all the time. If you visit downtown Louisville and you see people carrying small bats, that's likely where they got it. I'm sure other stores on here sell those as souvenirs, but... So now we're on Market Street. So, again, if you notice, I'm not sure how angle this is. I'm shooting with a 360 camera. So I should be able to angle the footage however I want, but on the road there are the lines in this far right lane that indicate that this is the shared lane with bikes. So that's the one I'm using. So, you know, comparing this to some of the older Segway scooters, like the original I think somebody is yelling at me, maybe. Oh, now I'm going by the Kentucky Exposition Center. There's a lot of events that get held here, like conferences and various you know, different events, like farming events or stuff that bring a lot of people here. The Kentucky International Convention Center. And there's this person doing something. And then up ahead, up directly ahead, is 4th Street Live, which is an entertainment area that has some restaurants and bars and stuff. Somewhere I have not really gone too much in recent years. I wasn't going to go through there, but so I'm just going through some of these other side streets. So I believe this is, I forget what street this is, so I'll see up here at the intersection. And then the hotel that's to my right, kind of behind me, is the Omni. The Omni Hotel. So I want to go up here and go a different way. Now I'm on 2nd Street. And immediately to my right, oh, thank you. That was a store called the Love Boutique, some type of adult store. Now, turn through here. This will take me back the way I want to go, because this will be Market Street. Which is where I was at earlier. So this is going back. So it's going down Market Street to the area known as Nulu. Just kind of at the edge of Market Street, kind of close to the Highlands area. This place, there are different bars and restaurants and shops, an ice cream place. clothing stores, bunch of stuff down here. And it looks like I am going to get stuck by every red light. I'll just cut that out in the video, but in real life I have to deal with this. And then one thing I know I'd read online, on Reddit and a few different places where people would discuss with this Max G2 scooter is overheating. I personally have not seen that yet. And I did just see a firmware update that came through today when I turned it on that was supposed to improve the performance in high heat. So I don't know if that will impact anything. I personally haven't experienced any problems with overheating. Right now it's about 85 degrees with, haven't checked the humidity, but earlier it was like 49%, somewhere around there. So not exactly a cool day, but you know, nowhere near as hot as it was earlier when the sun was out. And I'm not exactly like a super light rider or anything. Closer to 200 pounds than I am to 100 pounds. A lot closer. And it, you know, it's able to do the top speed and maintain it. And the acceleration feels pretty peppy compared to the old Segway Max scooter. Now, I haven't tried any of the, you know, the big boys, the Speed Demon ones. Just because to my taste, this, you know, top speed of 22 miles per hour, I think, you know, that or maybe just a tiny bit more is about as fast as I would want to go on one of these. I just feel like the, you know, just physics of, you know, it having the small wheels and tires, the long stem, the short handlebars, I just feel like no matter what you really do with that, you're going to be at risk of crashing. So I think, you know, 22 to 25 for me personally is kind of a good sweet spot for speeds. So, you know, for me personally, especially, you know, the price that this is regularly going for is a, you know, $9.99. I think at $12.99, its original asking price, that might be a little bit too much. But at the $9.99, to me, I think that's reasonable. Especially if you get it, you know, cheaper than that for any type of sales or specials. I think it's a good commuter. See, and these are, you know, I don't know how bright this is because it's actually a pretty dimly lit part, but the side or the bike lane through here, just, you know, everybody's parked in it. So I don't really trust using that, especially when there's not a lot of traffic, that somebody's not just going to throw a door open or pull out into you. Because it just feels like a pretty big risk. So now I'm getting back to Baxter Avenue / Bardstown Road, where I started out at. And I've continued to enjoy riding this scooter. Haven't had any negative feedback on this yet. I think it's just fast enough in a lot of scenarios riding it on the road to not be a huge annoyance to people. And it's pretty peppy with the acceleration. But, you know, if you're wanting one of the high-end fast scooters, this is not it. But for what it is, I enjoy it. It's like a commuter just to go ride around on. Wear, you know, some nice gloves, nice helmet, but I don't feel like I need to wear my entire motorcycle jacket and full-on motorcycle helmet and everything. Although falling off of any of these to speed would not be very fun at all. But yeah, so that's the general impression. I mean, I don't have a ton of other scooter experience. I have like the Segway Max, the original one, to compare this to, which I think this kind of beats it in every facet except for price. And it's not that far off the price that that scooter used to sell for. So I personally am a big fan of it. And I started off on Bardstown Road and then followed it on to Baxter Avenue. Went down to Main Street, then to Market Street. Then I went down by 4th Street Live, and then I came back to Market Street, and now I'm back on Baxter Avenue heading towards Bardstown Road. But yeah, that'll wrap it up till next time. Later.